The best stress reducer ever, plus a great garment to go along. So this is going to be just a really fun, quick project. And again, it's about add-ons. So there's so many different kind of add-ons out there. I want you to see all the different kinds. And today, we're just dealing with grommets. And there's so many fun grommets out there. I found I knew I wanted a contrast between my fabric. I knew I wanted a solid because the grommets show up better. And actually what I was copying was I had seen a woman who came to one of our workshops, and she had this top on. So I photographed it and copied it. So now I'm going to just show you how to do it. It's just really fun. I always use the base that's closest, and the base that's closest on this is 115. So 115 is my go-to pattern. It's got this great little neckline. It's just cute. I'm not making any changes to the pattern. Well, I take that back. I'm making some very small changes to the pattern, but I'll show you how to do that. My grommets are sliding all over. I can't wait to get to them. So I lengthened it 3 inches. So front and back, lengthen 3 inches. There's only 4 pattern pieces. I've got a front, I've got a back, I've got a collar and a sleeve. So the front I lengthened 3 inches. And what I did is I copied the front, there's my 3 inches, and I duplicated it. So make it complete. And then all I'm going to do is cut part of it off. And I'm going to show you where on the curve I used to cut it off. So the notch, you want to pay attention to that notch because that's where, you know, it's the notch for the sleeve and the armhole. But that's where I'm going to start. So the top will overlap the front bust just a little bit. And I just laid my curve down and I went from 1 here to 18. And my 18 is about 1.5 inches to the other side of center front. So I want them to kind of cross over through center front and then come to the other side. So I went 1 to 18 and then I flipped my curve, and from the side seam I went 7 to 20. You don't have to use those exactly, obviously, but it'll give you just kind of a little bit of a guide of the curve. And then I used my Curvette Plus and I just added on my seam allowance because that's what I wanted it to be finished. So I'm going to cut these. My fabric, I want the greatest part of the stretch going around the body. So I'm just going to cut 2 of these. The left side is going to overlap the right side. I'm going to, when I go up to sew, so cutting out is no big deal. Just make sure, again, the stretch goes greatest around. I'm using 2 yards of fabric, and I'm using a cotton knit because I'm going to love it. It's going to be blue. I'm going to wear it like with jeans. And it's just going to be a casual t-shirt, but it's just going to be a little bit better than a normal t-shirt. So on this, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hem this edge first. Do the French dart. And then when I'm sewing in the sleeve, I'll sew this side over. I'll lay it over and sew it just as one. So same thing you've always ever done. I'm going to hem the front piece, just the front piece. I'm going to sew the French dart, sew the shoulder seams, put in the neck, put in the collar, then put in the sleeves and sew up the underarm seam and the side seam. And then the front is going to be hemmed, the back is going to be hemmed, so then when I sew it together it will already be hemmed. So just make sure that you turn this under the 3/8 and that you hem the back the 3/8 so that both of them will be hemmed when you're doing the side seam. All right, so let's cut out. Fun little project, and let's sew. So now the fun part is here. My shirt's all made, and now my add-ons. And so my little grommets, what I did is I did a sample one just to make sure that it lays flat, that it's nice. And you know what you don't want in a grommet is you don't want it to pull. You want it to just lay smooth. So I'm going to mark these, and I'll show you kind of how I did one, and I'll keep going, but I'll show you how I did one to where it lays nice, but it's less time consuming. If you have a punch, or sometimes, you know, they have these owls, AWL, that you can just punch out the fabric. I didn't use that. So I'm just marking, I'm putting one every 2 inches on the front, and I'm not putting it in the seam allowance. So I'm using the same place on the curve that I used to draw the curve initially, to where that way I can just follow the curve with how far in it is. And I'm just putting a dot. And again, you can, if you're using different size grommets, the ones I'm using, these are 5/16 of an inch. I've seen bigger ones. I like them. I like them all. I think they're all really good looking. They're a lot of fun. And I'm actually going to go around to the back as well. On this part, underneath part, I'm not going to go all the way underneath because it doesn't lay nice and flat if you do. So I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When this comes down, there'll probably only be 4 that will show. And then again, kind of try to stay away from that seam allowance. So just a little dot is all I'm doing. And this is just easy and fun. I'll show you what I'm going to do. I take the fabric and I fold it in half. I'm using scissors. Cut like that, just a little clip. Fold it the other way and cut against it. So now what you have is this little kind of wedge with 4 clips that come to the middle. Cut through the base of all of those. Okay, and you've got a hole. It's not a whole hole. I mean, you know, it's not a huge hole, but it's a hole. You can't really leave all the fabric in there because if you do, it'll stretch. There's too much fabric in there for the grommet. So you don't have to get all of it out, but you've got to get some of it out. I always put the bigger piece on the bottom. It doesn't matter. These particular grommets are reversible. If there's one side you like better than the other side, then just use that. Now when you put it over, you've got to make sure there's no pull marks. If there's any kind of pull marks, then it's not what you want. So the one that's going to go, there's 2 parts of the grommet, and one part goes over the other one. That's the one I put on the bottom. So there's the ring that's on the inside, put that to the back side so that all you see is the clean side of the grommet. And because it's that side that's going to hold it together, you put the smooth side down. So one of the grommets is a little bit smaller than the other side of the grommet. That's the one you put to the back side. That's the one that's going to kind of open up when you go to smash it. And so it opened a little bit, and that's holding the side grommet in. And that way you get the clean side on the outside. So there's 2 sides to the grommet. The one that comes to where you can see the little ring, that's going to go to the back side so that that whole inside portion of that grommet will be nice and clean. And then that side is usually the side also that goes down, the top side, the side that doesn't have the inner portion, because it's the inner portion that I'm actually smashing out. Okay, so I do my little 4-way clips. I mean, you could just cut a little hole. You could, not a big deal either. I've just found this to be really accurate because you've got your marks and your actual clips are going right around your marks. So whatever way works for you is wonderful. All right, so we'll just continue on, put all these grommets on. top. I love it, I love it, I love it. It's too cute. It's just like I copied. She's going to know I copied her totally. I copied identically. But you can change the size of the grommets. There's so many variables. I used about 30 grommets. And the fun thing is you can just really get all your frustration out, bam, as you bam them into place. And of course, the harder you hit them, the more stable they'll be. And that's all good thing. Notice a couple things. Notice I didn't go up underneath here because there's no reason to have grommet on top of grommet. And so just start the bottom grommets. And then I went all the way around. You know, sometimes when I see tops and they don't do the back side, I think it just looks too cheap because I've been in manufacturing. I know the way they save money is they do it to the front and they don't do it to the back. Although the negative is if you put it in the back, you know, you're not sitting on them. They're not that low. But I did them across the back. I like them across the back. It's your choice. Size of grommets. If you get too big, the grommets are a little harder to control. So mine are 5/16, which is, you know, roughly a little less than a ½ inch. And I think it was really easy and really fun. If you notice, this comes to the other side of the bust. It drapes across. I love it. I hope you have fun. Happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns.